The first light of dawn spreads across the plains. A thin trail of smoke rises from an earth lodge, curling into the cold morning air. Inside, a woman stirs a pot of cornmeal while her son repairs a tool near the fire. Sparks drift upward, glowing like tiny stars. Outside, the ground is silver with frost. A hunter walks past with a fishing net slung over his shoulder. A few dogs trot between the lodges, tails low, noses to the ground. The only sounds are fire, wind, and the soft rhythm of work. No battles. No warriors on horseback. No Hollywood drums in the distance. Just quiet lives lived close to the land. As the sun climbs higher, a young girl hums while weaving mats from reeds. Someone chops wood. The smell of smoke and roasted corn fills the air. It's peaceful, simple, but beneath that calm rhythm, something deeper moves. A whole world of customs, duties, and beliefs. The heartbeat of a people shaped by the land itself. This was an ordinary morning, one of thousands that came and went. And yet every small act, every sound held meaning. But what did those days truly look like? What filled the hours between sunrise and firelight? What did Native Americans really do all day, when they weren't hunting or fighting but simply living? Well, most people imagine Native Americans as warriors, faces painted, bows drawn, horses charging across the plains. It's the picture we've seen in movies for 100 years. But that image tells only a fragment of the story. The truth is quieter, fuller, and far more human. Most days were not about battle, but about living, raising children, crafting tools, preparing food, keeping the fire alive. Across the forests, plains, and deserts, life followed a rhythm of work, laughter, ceremony, and rest, each sunrise different, yet all connected by one idea. Imagine standing there just before dawn. The air is cool, still carrying the scent of last night's fire. The horizon glows faintly red. Somewhere a dog stirs. A voice murmurs inside a lodge. The land is quiet, waiting. And then, the rhythm begins. The day begins with sound, the low crackle of fire, the rustle of hides, the faint cry of a bird rising with the sun. In every corner of the continent, from icy coasts to dry deserts, people wake with purpose. For most native families, the first hours belong to warmth and preparation. In the lodges of the plains, smoke filters through a hole in the roof as women feed the fire with dried wood and buffalo dung. A small pot of cornmeal simmers beside the coals, its surface shimmering with oil. Outside, a man tightens the laces on his moccasins and checks the sky, feeling the air, watching the color of the horizon. He knows the day's work depends on the wind. In the woodlands farther east, the smell of damp earth fills the longhouses. Children gather kindling while elders sit near the fire, speaking softly, shaping tools from bone and antler. The walls glow faintly with the light of morning. The rhythm of daily life begins quietly, not with hurry but with patience. For most, the first hours are for work. Women tend to fires, grind corn, and prepare food for the day ahead. The sound of stone against stone echoes through the village as maize is crushed into meal. Each motion is practiced and calm, a skill learned from mothers and grandmothers long before. Men set out early, sometimes to hunt, sometimes to fish, sometimes simply to check traps left the night before. On the coast, fishermen push narrow canoes into the mist, paddling silently toward deeper waters. Nets woven from plant fibers drift below the surface, catching the morning's first salmon. In the southwest, farmers step out into the sun-baked fields, their hands tracing the lines of corn and beans growing in dry soil. With every handful of water poured from a clay pot, they whisper a small prayer for rain. This work isn't only about survival, it's about balance. Every task connects them to the land that gives them everything. Nothing is wasted and nothing is taken for granted. As the sun climbs higher, the air grows warmer and the village hums with movement. Children play near the edges of camp, chasing each other through grass and dust. Laughter drifts between the lodges. Inside shaded spaces, people turn to their crafts. Skilled hands shape clay into bowls and jars, pressing patterns of leaves or feathers into the soft surface before setting them out to dry. Others work with hides, stretching and softening them until they're ready to become clothing, shelter, or trade goods. This is also the time when voices fill the air. Stories, songs, and the passing of knowledge. Older men teach boys how to carve arrow shafts straight and true. Women show young girls how to weave baskets tight enough to hold water. Nothing is written down, yet everything is remembered. Tradition moves through hands and words, not books. In the woodlands, a group gathers near a longhouse to trade. Dried fish for cornmeal, hides for shells, stories for laughter. Across the continent, daily life is shaped by cooperation. No one lives alone for long. Every act connects to another. By afternoon, the village spreads outward. Hunters follow game trails through tall grass or forest shade. Foraging parties move silently along riverbanks, gathering roots, berries, and wild herbs. Each season offers its own gifts, and knowing where to find them means the difference between hunger and plenty. In the southern deserts, women walk together toward dry riverbeds, searching for mesquite pods to grind into flour. Their songs rise and fall with their steps, songs that mark distance, time, and direction. On the Pacific coast, others climb over rocks slick with sea spray, prying mussels from the stone and carrying them home in woven baskets. Everywhere there's motion, the quiet industry of life continuing. There are no machines, no clocks, yet everyone knows the rhythm of the day. The angle of sunlight tells them when to rest and when to return. When the shadows stretch long across the land, the people return. The fires are lit again and the smell of food fills the air. Corn and beans, roasted fish, smoked meat. Dogs bark. Children run to greet the hunters. The sound of chatter rises, soft and steady like the murmur of a river. Meals are shared from the same bowl. Stories are shared from the same heart. Around the fires, the day's lessons become tales. Some funny, some sacred, all important. An elder tells how the stars came to be, pointing to constellations that mark the seasons. Another speaks of courage, of patience, of respect for the spirits that walk unseen. The children listen wide-eyed, their faces glowing in the firelight. And when the stories end, there's music. Drums, rattles, the low hum of voices blending with the night. Some songs are prayers, some are memories. Together, they hold the people in rhythm with the world around them. As the moon rises, the fires die down. The camp grows quiet again. In the distance, you can hear the wind move through the trees or the cry of a coyote on the plains. People lie down close to one another, wrapped in furs or blankets. The warmth of the day fades, replaced by the steady peace of darkness. But even now, the village doesn't sleep entirely. Somewhere, a mother rocks her baby near the fire. A man keeps watch, listening for danger. Someone hums a lullaby older than memory. The rhythm of life never truly stops. It only softens like the last glow of embers beneath the ash. From one horizon to another, daily life changes with the land, yet its spirit stays the same. On the Great Plains, the people follow the herds, their homes built to move with the seasons. In the forests of the Northeast, longhouses stand firm through rain and snow, filled with warmth and laughter. In the Southwest, homes of earth and stone rise from canyon walls, holding generations beneath a single roof. Along the coast, fishermen bring home salmon and seaweed, their canoes cutting through silver water under the fading light. Different worlds, different skills, yet all guided by one truth, that every sunrise is a gift and every day a chance to live in balance with the land. So what did Native Americans actually do all day? They lived fully, deliberately, and close to the earth. They worked with their hands, cared for their families, and honored the world that sustained them. Life wasn't a string of battles or legends. It was the sound of a grinding stone, the laughter of children, the smell of smoke at dusk. It was the art of survival, not against nature but alongside it. Each sunrise began with gratitude. Each sunset ended with peace. And in between there was everything that makes a people truly alive. But those simple moments, the grinding of corn, the shaping of clay, the laughter by the fire, were more than routines. They were threads in something larger, something sacred that ran through every day, every season, every breath. Because for Native peoples, daily life wasn't only about surviving the world, it was about belonging to it. And that's where the deeper truth begins. Every action, no matter how small, carried meaning. Grinding corn wasn't only preparing food. It was a way of honoring the earth that gave it. Lighting a fire wasn't just for warmth. It was keeping the world's balance alive for one more day. To live close to the land meant understanding that everything, the air, the water, the trees, the animals, was part of the same circle. Nothing stood alone. A river wasn't only water. It was a living relative. A mountain wasn't just stone. It was a guardian. Even the wind had a voice and the people listened. This idea shaped every part of their days. When they hunted, they thanked the spirit of the animal. When they planted, they sang to the soil. When they ate, they offered the first bite back to the earth. It wasn't religion in the way we often think of it. It was relationship. Life itself was sacred. That's why their world didn't move with clocks or calendars. It moved with seasons, stars, and stories. Time was measured by when the geese returned, when the snow melted, when the corn ripened. It wasn't about controlling nature. It was about moving with it. And in that rhythm, they found balance, a kind of peace we often forget today. No one rushed to the next task. No one lived only for tomorrow. The day itself was enough, because each moment was part of a living world that spoke back to them. In the evenings, when families gathered by the fire, stories weren't just for entertainment. They were memory. They carried lessons, warnings, and laughter, but also identity. Every story reminded them who they were and where they came from. It told them how to live well, how to respect others, how to stay in balance. To forget a story was to lose a part of yourself. To remember it was to stay whole. Even their tools, clothes, and homes were reflections of this belief. A basket wasn't only woven to carry food. It carried the pattern of the tribe's spirit, symbols of wind, river, and animal. A dwelling wasn't only shelter. It was built to face the rising sun, to greet the day in harmony. Nothing was made without thought or purpose, and yet, despite all these differences, the climates, the languages, the customs, one truth echoed everywhere. The land was alive and people belonged to it, not the other way around. That understanding guided every sunrise, every meal, every song. It created a way of life that survived not through conquest or wealth, but through connection and care. When we look back now, it's easy to focus on the legends, the battles, the warriors, the heroes. But the real strength of Native America lived in quieter moments. In the grinding of corn, the shaping of clay, the sharing of food, the telling of stories. Those were the threads that held their world together. And maybe that's what their story still has to teach us. That the meaning of life doesn't live in big events, but in the small, steady things we do every day, in how we treat the earth, in how we speak to one another, in how we remember where we come from. Because for the first peoples of this land, life itself was the ceremony, and every sunrise, every single one, was sacred. If this glimpse into everyday native life opened your eyes, share it. Let others see the world beyond the myths. And tell me in the comments, which part of this day spoke to you the most? Because their story isn't ancient. It's still alive, still echoing in every sunrise that touches this land.